Today I want to talk about runes and goddesses that you can use to help to ease childbirth and pregnancy. This is a fairly important topic to me because there's some people in my life I know right now that are pregnant and they may be looking forward to the coming due date with some trepidation and maybe even experiencing some difficulty currently with the pregnancy and all of the changes that are happening. And I know personally that this could be a scary time because I've went through two childbirths with my wife and we've got two healthy children out of this. And I know that this time in a person's life can be pretty scary, can feel really challenging and difficult. And this is absolutely true even for the Old Norse. You know, if we look back across the history of humanity, childbirth really was one of the most scariest times in a woman's life. It was the time where they faced their own mortality more than any other time, except for maybe old age, illness. And it was really important to families to be able to bring a healthy baby into this world and for the woman to be stay healthy and strong throughout this whole process. And I'm sure today, guys, if you've got wives, girlfriends, lovers who are pregnant, and women, you've got that baby inside that you want to grow to healthy term and you want to be healthy and strong for that baby too. I feel that. I've been there and I want that for you too. So today I'm going to share what I've been able to cull out of Norse lore. I've been studying this for over 30 years now, trying to find ways to use the wisdom of the ancients in the modern world. A way that's practical and useful. And so today I want to teach you about three runes and three goddesses that really you can use. After this video, you can sit down and you can use these processes that I'm going to give to you. And I hope that it helps you feel better, helps you put in a more comfortable place, knowing that you're cared for, that you're watched over, and that there is something that you can do at the spiritual level to help with this process. Now, we know the Old Norse did live in very difficult times. Everything from farming to the weather to childbirth to animal husbandry was difficult. And to help through these difficult times, they were wont to call upon the gods. They would use the runes to try to get through these times. And in doing so, they've developed some practices which we still kind of use in modern times that make the best use of their practical wisdom. And to that effect, they knew the best deities to call upon for the right duties and the right jobs. And so we're going to look at three different goddesses that are specific to helping with childbirth and pregnancy. And those are Freya, Frigg, and Ire. We'll talk more about them coming up here real quick. And they also knew runes that were really good to use to promote a healthy pregnancy and childbirth. And for that, we're only going to look at three. I'm not going to overwhelm you with all 24 or anything crazy. I'm going to look at three runes simply. And that's Perthro, Wunjo, and Berkana. Okay, first up, we're going to look at the goddesses. Now, when it comes to calling any deity in, whether you've done this before or not, I want to share with you a little formula that I found very successful when working with deity. First, you call upon them by their primary name. Then you call upon them with an alternate name. If there are multiple alternate names, feel free to use that. Any family that they've got, father, mother, sister, brothers, this sort of thing. Also, if you can cite deeds that they're known for in the lore, that's going to be helpful to you. And finally, you want to invite them to be present to give their blessings for the specific working that you're doing. First up, let's look at Freya so we can understand how this works. Now, she's a goddess that's really good to call upon for the feminine mysteries, including fertility and sexuality. And from that, we can extrapolate that her influence will be beneficial to assisting a healthy state for the womb and fetus. And if you want to bring Freya into the room to receive her blessings, I'll give you a formula that I recommend using. Hail Freya, Lady Mardol, Vanadis, sister to Freyr and daughter to Njord, we call upon you this day to ask for your blessings of health to baby and womb, to ensure the well-being of mother and child, and to bring about ease with childbirth. Hopefully you can see how that little formula works there. The next goddess we're going to call upon is Frigga. And now she's good if you want blessings for hearth and home. The lore tells us that she is the wisest of all the goddesses, as she knows the secrets of everything, yet says nothing of them. And the lore tells us that she's the only deity that has been known to outwit Odin, her husband. And if you want to call upon Frigg to bring blessings of house, home, motherly wisdom. Hail Frigg, matron of Fensalir, wife of Odin and mother to Balder. We call upon you to bring your blessings of peace, prosperity, and well-being to our home and hearth. Help us to make this a wondrous place to raise our family. Finally, we're going to look at Air. Now, she's been known as the foremost of all physicians and the best of healers. The lore tells us that she's a handmaiden to Frigg and knowledgeable in all of the healing arts. And so to help ensure the health of baby and mama, we're going to use Air to help bring about healing energies for pregnancy, childbirth, and please feel free to use Air's gifts through the postpartum phases. Now to call upon Air, use this formula. Hail Air, foremost of physicians and best of healers, handmaid to Lady Frigg. We call upon you for your blessings of health and well-being. Please look upon mother and child with your blitheful eyes and grant them healing energies with life. And if you make a regular practice of calling in these three goddesses, offering a horn, try it. Now, the runes are useful to this process because they can really hone and focus the energies of these goddesses for very specific uses. And this is because runes are much more than the simple letter-like drawings that we see on stone and wood that people tend to use for divination. Runes are much more than that. You see, to the Norse, runes had the power to bring prosperity, healing, transformation of all kinds to the people because, in essence, the runes serve as our connection to the subtle layers of reality and shape how that reality plays out for us. And now, if we're going to use the power of runes to promote a healthy state of being for mother and child, the chances of a healthy pregnancy and childbirth do go up. But I do want you to remember, and I'm very serious about this, you can use the runes, you can use the goddesses, you can do all of these things correctly, and there are always very many variables transpiring with these events. Calling on the goddesses for help and casting runic energies is not a substitution for proper modern medical care. I recommend that you use these techniques that I'm about to give you in conjunction with trained medical practitioners. Go to your doctor. Be sure you're getting the proper care that you need. These things will help. And you still need the medical care. Please do both. The first rune we're going to look at is Perthro. Now, Perthro is a really strange rune that has defied translation and interpretation. Our best understanding is that this is a rune that represents luck, fate. Some people have likened this rune to a dice cup, where the use of this rune helps to bring out a favorable roll of the die. Sure. Others see this rune as a rune of childbirth, like this might be the birth canal, and bringing about a favorable fate to bringing pregnancy and delivery. Very interesting. Second rune that we're going to look at is Berkana. Now, Berkana is the rune of the birch tree. It's a tree fabled to have strong, fertile powers. The lore tells us that newlyweds would beat each other with the branches of the birch to help them to be fertile and sexually strong. One can almost imagine the B shape of this stave as the profile of a pregnant mother. You can almost see the large breasts and a baby in a big full belly. Thus, this is a really good rune to use for all manner of health and well-being for women, including pregnancy and childbirth. Finally, we're going to look at the rune Wunjo. Wunjo is a very simple rune to understand. It's the rune of joy, happiness, accomplishment, and it really reflects the greatest joys you've experienced in your life. And when you work with Wunjo, take a moment just to think of the most joyous and wonderful moments from your past. And as you're remembering, say, just one of those moments, look inward and notice how that memory makes you feel. This is especially good if that memory comes from childhood. And now, imagine projecting those feelings towards the child growing inside the womb. This is great if you're the mother and you can feel the baby inside and you're trying to pass on your best wishes for the child. Borrow from what you already know about having wonderful, joyous times. Transfer that feeling into the baby, into your womb. And if you're the father, do the same thing. Just transfer your feelings of happiness and joy through Wunjo right into that womb. And all of these things will help to promote a healthy state in the body and spirit. We know from science that joy and laughter do so much for regulating hormonal and neurotransmitter health. It brings oxygen to the body. Just the simple act of joy will already help increase the health of your body, even if it's trying. I know it's tough. I know it's really tough. You got financial issues to deal with. You got health issues to deal with. You got the logistics of life to deal with. All of this stuff is compounding in your head, making you crazy, and it's really, really, really hard to find a peaceful moment. I know. I've been there. But if you can take just a breath, that's all I want you to do. It's just a breath. And remember a happy experience out of your past. That's Wunjo. And see how long you could sit in that moment with Wunjo. It's really important for you and your baby to try to find, even if it's a breath of Wunjo, a breath of joy, a breath of wonder and happiness amidst all the chaos going around you. Really important, and it will improve your health and well-being tremendously to do that one little thing. Okay, let's take this a notch further. The lore gives us very vague descriptions on how to use runes for childbirth, real vague. Now, it tells us that the runes that you're going to be using are to be marked on the wrists and the belly of a pregnant woman. So to that effect, here's my recommendation. On the left wrist, paint Wunjo. On the right wrist, paint Berkana. And on the belly, Perthro. If you're familiar with using bind runes and the creation of bind runes, please feel free to spend some time and create your own specific bind rune for this process and paint that specific bind rune on each of the wrists and on the belly. That works beautifully and wonderfully too. And bear in mind that as you're painting each of these runes, it helps to sing the names of the runes, holding in your heart and your mind the best of intentions for the baby and the mother. So how do we put all this together in a ritual? Because this is really how you bring it home. This is how you make a powerful punch, is you bring the goddesses and you bring the runes together in a ritual. If you know how to do bloat, awesome. Do what you normally do for bloat. If you're not familiar with bloat and this kind of ritual is new to you, I'll help you. I'll give you some pointers and some tips, and I'll actually give you the steps of ritual to help guide you through this process. So begin by setting sacred space in any way that you normally set sacred space. If you do a hammer rite, go ahead and do that. If you do algias on all the four walls, go for that. But set sacred space somehow. Light candles. If you want to do incense or essential oil diffuser, something like that, go for it. Now take a few breaths to clear, center, and focus your mind. And one by one, call on each of the goddesses using the formula that we discussed above. And as you take the left arm of the mother and you paint Wunjo on it, call upon Frigg to bring in the blessings of joy, wonderment, and happiness to the mother and child and for the whole family. And as you're painting and singing Wunjo, let yourself be filled with that emotion of joy. Just let it flow through you and into the rune that you're painting. Now take her right wrist, and as you do, call upon Freya to bring the essence of the divine feminine into the body of the mother. Feel yourself either filling or flowing through with these feminine energies. Yes, man, you can flow feminine energies through you, and it doesn't lose a lick of masculinity for you. In fact, it boosts it. So you let that divine feminine energy flow into the woman, filling and surrounding her body, and flow into that rune, and into her, and into the womb. Finally, as you paint Perthro on her belly, call upon air to bring health and well-being to the mother and baby. And it will help you if you can visualize seeing the baby inside healthy, happy, and whole. And allow your mind to project into the future, seeing an easy childbirth as new life is joyfully brought into this world. And after you're done painting the runes and working with the goddesses in this way, grab a horn, cup, glass, whatever you got nearby. Horn's great if you can do it. And use a bit of honey water, apple cider, or other suitable drink. Remember, mead may not be a good idea with a pregnant mom. Alcohol and babies don't quite get along that well. And pass around the horn. So everyone in attendance should take a sip, hailing the goddesses. Just a simple hail air, hail Freya, hail Frigg. And after everyone's had their sip and their hail, pour the remainder of the drink into a bowl. And continue with the visualizations for a healthy baby and healthy mama. Sprinkle the mother with this liquid from the bowl, just knowing that the blessings of the goddesses and the runes are sprinkling upon her and the baby. And close the space as you see fit, if that's your thing, if you want to do that one. Take the bowl outside, pour it on a tree to help it grow, some plants that you like. And I do recommend that this rite be performed before the time of birth. Try it multiple times, as you feel appropriate. And then as the day of delivery comes, it's probably a really good idea to perform these rites in the birth room. This will ensure the presence of the goddesses for the delivery and to bring about the power of the runes to ease the process. And if you can, put it into your birth plan. Don't surprise your doctor, your doula, your midwife with, oh, by the way, hey, we're going to do a pagan ritual and call goddesses in here and sing some runes. You mind? Let them know in advance so that they can prepare and be ready for this. When it's been our experience that the doctors and nurses like to know if you're going to do something strange in the delivery room. Help them out. Help them to help you, right? Great. I hope that you find this information useful, and I hope that it brings about ease for your childbirth, for the rest of your pregnancy time. May the goddesses smile upon you in your favor. Hail to you all.